Let's learn how to use Claude Design. We'll start with creating a simple web design. This will get you started on the fundamentals. After this, we'll move to Design Systems, where you get to see how to set up a brand, color, themes, and styles. From there, we'll use the design system to create a high-quality website. Finally, I'll show you some other tips and tricks with Claude Design, such as creating wireframes, slides for PowerPoint presentations, as well as connecting up things like MCP Tools to get the most out of it. Let's begin. To access Claude Design, in your sidebar under Products, select the Design button. This takes us to our dashboard. On the left, we can create prototypes for things like web designs, slide decks, and templates. And on the right, we have recent designs, examples, and design systems which allow us to create predefined styles for our designs. Let's start simple and work our way up. We'll create a new prototype here. I'll select High Fidelity and click Create. This takes us to the main project dashboard, where we have a chat interface on the left, as well as the design files and later the design on the right-hand side. Here's my first prompt: to create a portfolio design for myself. This takes us to the second part of the process, where we answer a few questions about the direction of the design itself. These include things like the overall design aesthetic, what's the main job of the design, what things should be included or not included, and its format. Once done, we can select Continue and head to the next part of the process. This part can take a while, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, so let's skip to it being complete. And here it is. This web design is something we can now scroll through, but what's really cool is that it's created multiple variations, and this works kind of like a Figma file where I can zoom out of the canvas and see all the different types that have been put together. Additionally, on the top here, we have the design files. This is all the code, so if at any point in time you want to open this up or copy this out into your own project, you can do that too. In the design file itself, we have these options here at the top to markdown, edit, show tweaks, and comments. Let's start off by taking a look at the tweaks we can make to this design. I can toggle the different types of variations that are displayed, the accent color, as well as a couple of other little options based on the project itself. Outside of tweaks, I can also select the edit button. This will allow me to change more of the project settings itself across the entire page. So things like the background, the font size, as well as the base size. But for the most part, people should use the markup button. This allows you to select elements on the page and then describe how you would like them modified, changed, or updated. So here, for example, I'll select the hero section and ask it to center it as well as improve the text itself. After thinking a little bit, Claude Design came back with this over here. Then I can keep doing this over and over until I have a design that I'm pretty happy with. So these are the basics, but now let's take it one step further and start using proper design systems. On the main dashboard, head to the Design Systems tab. On the far right here, we can create a brand new design system. For the example, I'll recreate my local coffee shop, which is Irby Cafe. This next part lets you use some examples to create your design system, such as code on GitHub, maybe some files from your computer, maybe even a Figma file, or just some bare bones fonts or logo assets, which I actually have. With all that done, on the top right, select Continue to Generate and Generate Design. Wait 5 to 10 minutes and you'll get something like this. Here is our design system, and it's a draft, so let's review to see what's happened. You can see that based on the assets I provided earlier, it's created a style guide with fonts, colors, typography for heading, body, as well as things like just general spacing and UI components. It's even found the correct font here based on the logo I had earlier, so I'm gonna select all of this as looks good to give it confirmation that I approve of these design assets as the ones they should use for this design system. However, if there are any issues, like here where the logo isn't large enough next to the letter I, then we can ask the AI to fix that up for us. It'll run in the background, and once complete, you'll see the new result just here. I think that's enough now to publish this design system. So let's do that and also set it as the default so we can use for our next design. If you want to double check, you can head over here to Design Systems. You can see our new cafe design system right here. It's not the default, so maybe that didn't work, but I'll set it to default now. Let's use it for a new prototype. Here on the left, I'm going to type in Irby Cafe version 2, and I'm going to select the design system to use the Irby design system we just created and select Create. This time we want to do a few things. First, I'm going to put in a prompt to create the website for the Irby Cafe based on the design system, but I also have additional information in Notion which I want to connect to this design. And I'm going to do this through MCP. On the bottom left, I've got the plus sign and an option here to manage connectors. The primary connector I'm using is Zapier, since it actually connects up to all my applications. This takes me back to Claude. If you want to access this yourself, you head over to Customize, Connectors, and under Connectors, we've got Zapier here. You can add your own connector by selecting Browse Connectors or Add Custom Connector. Zapier is the one I recommend, since it sits in the middle between your applications and your AI. And from a security point of view, this gives you much more fine-grained control. To connect Claude Design, simply select New MCP Server, select Claude, and under the Connect tab, select the button to add to Claude. This will take you back to the Claude settings page where we can select the button here to connect the two together. This will redirect you to a final page to confirm that connection. Once done, inside of Zapier, we can head to our apps, head over here to Notion, and I'm going to select the options here for it to be able to access pages and data from those page blocks. I'll add this to the prompt here to make sure that we are using the details from the Notion page, specifically with the title Irby Cafe. With all that done, let's kick off this prompt. After running for about 5 to 10 minutes once more, here's the final result. Not too bad for the website design. It's really taken in that aesthetic that we've created in the design system, as well as the original design from the menu and the photo of the logo I provided. This is something I can now take to the client as a professional looking design. Next up, we're going to take a look at wireframes inside of Claude Design and how we can create them ourselves. Let's create a new project here called Irby Cafe, but this one will be for a wireframe project. On the right hand side here, you can select Start with Sketch, where you can literally draw out how you imagine the web design to look like. I've put together a basic design just here, and I'm going to also include a prompt to get us started. Just like last time, we'll be asked a few questions to make sure that the Claude design system understands exactly what it's trying to generate. That's just finished. Here is our small brief for the design system, as well as a few wireframe designs that Claude's put together. I think this is a good entry point if you're just testing out ideas, but if you already have a good concept of what you're after and even your own design system, you can normally skip past the initial wireframe. The next feature we're going to look at in Claude Design are slide decks, which are essentially like PowerPoint presentations that you can generate. Let's be a bit cheeky and create a slide deck about Claude Design inside of Claude Design. After running for a few minutes, here's what we get. A pretty good slide deck, which actually has a number of quotes, tells you a little bit more about Claude Design. However, personally, I feel like there aren't enough visuals here from icons to images, so I'm going to ask it to regenerate this a little bit more like an infographic that I could use on Instagram. That's just finished, and now you can see that each slide has a few images and examples, which I think works a lot better. There's a lot of good use cases for this, like connecting it up to a project you're working on in Notion, just getting a nice presentation ready for a client. The last thing I want to show you is how to create animations. If you select From Template, you've got an option here for animations which are time-based. Let's attach a design system to this and create it from template. For the animations themselves, the cafe has a TV that runs in the background. Usually it has a static image of the menu, but I want something a little bit more dynamic to play. So let's ask Claude Design to create something for us. It'll run through with a few questions and then start generating this from all the assets we have so far. And here's that final video result, showcasing the logo, the menu in a more animated fashion, as well as a video that can replay over 1 minute over and over. While this might not be at the level of a professional working in After Effects, it's definitely a step in the right direction.